Let me ask you a question that might make you a little uncomfortable. If you lost everything you own today, every dollar in the bank, your house, your car, your job, would you be able to get it all back within a year, or would you be destitute? This is the fundamental difference between those who have money and those who are wealthy. You see, most people spend their entire lives chasing money. They run after it, they stress over it, they trade their precious time for it, and yet it always seems to be just out of reach. It is like trying to catch a butterfly. The more you grasp for it, the faster it flies away. But here is the paradox that changed my life. You do not get wealthy by chasing money. You get wealthy by attracting it. You do not get rich by demand. You get rich by performance. Stop for a moment and look at your current financial situation. It is not a reflection of the economy. It is not a reflection of your employer's generosity. It is a reflection of your philosophy. If you are not where you want to be financially, it is not because the world is holding you back. It is because you have not yet become the person who attracts the wealth you desire. Are you ready to stop chasing and start attracting? Are you ready to trade the philosophy of wages for the philosophy of profits? Because the answer to your financial freedom isn't out there in the marketplace. It is right here, in your mind. Let's look at the numbers because the numbers do not lie. Why is it that in the richest country in the history of the world, 5% of the people control 90% of the money? Is it because they are smarter? Is it because they work harder? I know men who work 14 hours a day until their backs break, yet they barely have enough to pay the rent. So it is not about hard work alone. The difference lies in a single concept that I want you to burn into your mind. We get paid for bringing value to the marketplace, not for time. This is the mistake most people make. They think they are paid by the hour. No, you are not. You are paid for the value you bring to that hour. Is it possible to become twice as valuable to the marketplace and make twice as much money in the same hour? Is it possible to become 10 times as valuable? Of course it is. But the majority is trapped in the wrong vehicle. They are operating on the philosophy of wages, not the philosophy of profits. Here is the phrase that turned my life around. Wages will make you a living, profits will make you a fortune. There is nothing wrong with wages. They pay the bills, they keep the lights on. But if you want to be wealthy, if you want freedom, you must eventually move from wages to profits. Wages are what you get paid for your time. Profits are what you get paid for your results, for your ideas, for your courage to invest in yourself. The problem is that we are taught to be good employees, not good designers of our own lives. We are taught to fit into someone else's plan. And let me tell you something about someone else's plan. Guess what they have planned for you? Not much. If you do not design your own life plan, chances are you will fall into someone else's plan, and that is a dangerous place to be. You see, the economic wind blows on all of us. The wind of inflation, the wind of recession, the wind of political change, the wind of personal tragedy. It blows on the rich and it blows on the poor. The difference is not the blowing of the wind. The difference is the set of the sail. You cannot change the wind, but you can change the set of the sail. The majority of people are cursing the wind. They are blaming the government, blaming the tax system, blaming their boss, blaming the prices at the grocery store. They are wishing for a better wind. But the successful people, they are adjusting their sails. They are learning new skills. They are reading books while others are watching television. They are taking responsibility for their own economy, regardless of what the national economy is doing. This requires a shift in thinking so profound that most people run away from it because it is easier to blame the wind than to learn how to sail. It requires silence. It requires you to shut out the noise of the world and listen to your own thoughts. We are so afraid of silence today. We fill every second with noise, with music, with news, with scrolling, but wealth is not created in the noise. It is created in the quiet strategy of the mind. That is why I will leave a few moments of quiet at the end of this video so you can actually listen to what your life is trying to tell you instead of just rushing to the next distraction. But before we get there, we must understand the mechanism of value. You don't get paid for needing money. The marketplace does not care about your mortgage. It does not care about your sick child, as harsh as that sounds. The marketplace only responds to seed and soil, to value and merit. If you are not doing well, you do not need to change the marketplace. You need to change yourself. You need to work harder on yourself than you do on your job. If you work hard on your job, you can make a living. If you work hard on yourself, you can make a fortune. Why is this so hard to grasp? Because it requires patience. It requires the discipline of the farmer. You cannot plant the seed today and demand the harvest tomorrow. The wage earner wants the paycheck on Friday. The wealth builder understands that the fruit might not come for 5 years, but when it comes, it will feed him for a lifetime. Are you building a pipeline or are you just carrying buckets? Most people are carrying buckets back and forth, trading time for money. And if they get sick or if they get tired or if they get old, the buckets stop coming. The wealthy person builds a pipeline. It takes time, it takes effort, it takes unpaid labor in the beginning, but once the pipeline is built, the water flows whether they are there or not. That is the philosophy of profits. That is the philosophy of freedom. But to build that pipeline, you must confront the architect in the mirror. You must admit that everything you have and everything you do not have is a direct result of your design up until this moment. If you don't like the crop, look at the seed you are planting. You cannot plant laziness and expect a harvest of riches. You cannot plant ignorance and expect a harvest of wisdom. So the question becomes, how do we begin to change the seeds? How did a farm boy from Idaho who lost everything by age 25 learn to set a better sail? It started with a man who looked at my empty bank account and didn't offer me money, but offered me a truth that stung like a bee. I was 25 years old when I met the man who would change everything, Mr. Earl Shoaff. But before I met him, I want you to understand where I was. I was not lazy. I was a hard worker. I grew up on a farm in Idaho, so I knew how to work. I knew how to sweat. I was working as a stock clerk at Sears, doing everything I was told to do. I was a good employee. I showed up on time. I didn't steal. I didn't complain too much. And yet, I was penniless. I had creditors calling the house that I was afraid to answer. I was driving a car with bald tires, praying they wouldn't blow out on the highway because I didn't have the money to replace them. I had a wife and a growing family, and I had promised them the world, but I was delivering nothing but excuses. I remember one distinct moment that cut me to the bone. A little girl knocked on my door selling Girl Scout cookies. They were $2 a box. I wanted to buy a box. I wanted to be the big man who buys the cookies. But I didn't have $2. I had money in my pocket, but that money was already spoken for. It was for milk or gas or to keep the electricity on. So I did the only thing I could think of. I lied to her. I said, "Little girl, I have already bought plenty of Girl Scout cookies this year. I still have them stacked in the pantry." That was a lie. I didn't have any cookies. I didn't have any money. When she walked away, I closed the door and I leaned my back against it and I cried. I cried because I realized I'd become a man who had to lie to a Girl Scout because he couldn't afford a $2 box of cookies. That was the lowest point. That was the moment of shame. Shortly after that, I met Earl Shoaff. He was wealthy, he was wise, and he was everything I wanted to be. I started working for him, trying to sell his nutritional supplements. Those were my shaker days. One day we were having breakfast and I was complaining. I was pouring my heart out to him about why I wasn't doing well. I had my list ready. I said, "Mr. Shoaff, look at my paycheck. The company doesn't pay enough." I said, "The taxes are killing me. The government is taking everything." I said, "The traffic is terrible. It takes me too long to get to prospects." I said, "My relatives, they are negative. They don't support me." I went on and on. I blamed the economy, the weather, the cynics, the interest rates. Mr. Shoaff listened patiently while I built my case. He let me finish. And then he looked at me with those kind but piercing eyes and said something that stopped my heart. He said, "Jim, I have looked at your list of reasons for why you are not successful, and I have found the problem with your list." I leaned in, thinking he was going to tell me how to fix the economy or how to cheat on my taxes. He said, "The problem with your list is that you are not on it." I sat there frozen. The silence in that room was deafening. It was a heavy, thick silence where all my excuses died. I tried to argue, but the words wouldn't come out. He continued, "You see, Jim, for things to change, you have to change. For things to get better, you have to get better. You are looking for the answers out there in the wind, but the answer is sitting right here in this chair." That moment of silence was the turning point of my life. It was painful. It destroyed my ego. But it saved my future. And that is why I want to prepare you. Later in this video, I will leave a few moments of quiet at the end. Not because I ran out of things to say, but because you need to experience that same silence I felt with Earl Shoaff. You need a moment where the noise stops and the truth begins. But back then, at 25, I didn't want silence. I wanted an easy way out. I wanted him to tell me a secret stock tip. Instead, he told me that my income was a direct reflection of my philosophy, not the economy. He told me that I had been working hard on my job, but I hadn't been working hard on my future. He said, "Jim, if you change, everything will change for you. If you become more, you will attract more." It took me a while to digest this. I went home that night and I looked in the mirror. I looked at the guy who lied to the Girl Scout. I looked at the guy who blamed the government, and I finally admitted it. I said, "It is me. I am the problem." And the moment I admitted I was the problem, I also realized I was the solution. That is the paradox. As long as the problem is out there, you are a victim. You are a leaf in the wind. But the moment the problem is in here, you are the captain. You are the architect. I tore up my old list of excuses. I stopped blaming the taxes. I stopped blaming the prices. I started buying books. I started learning skills. I started disciplining my disappointment. And do you know what happened? The same wind blew on me that blew on everyone else. The same government was in power, the same taxes were levied, but my bank account started to change. My life started to change, not because the world got better, but because I got better. I went from losing everything at 25 to becoming a millionaire by 31. 6 years. That is all it took. 6 years of working on myself harder than I worked on my job. 6 years of trading the philosophy of wages for the philosophy of profits. But here is the tragedy. Most people never tear up that list. They hold on to it until the day they die. They defend their excuses with more passion than they defend their dreams. They protect their limitations instead of protecting their potential. And now I have to ask you a question that only you can answer in the privacy of your own mind. If I asked to see your list of reasons why you aren't where you want to be financially, would your name be on it? So, if the problem is us, what is the solution? How do we tear up that list of excuses and write a new plan for wealth? It begins with understanding the law of value. You see, the marketplace is a unique place. It is not emotional. It is not prejudiced. It is simply a mechanism that rewards value. To the marketplace, you are worth what you bring to it. Now, that might sound cold, but it is actually the most liberating truth you will ever hear. Why? Because you can control the value you bring. You cannot control the interest rates, but you can control your skills. You cannot control the stock market, but you can control your discipline. If you want to make more money, you simply have to become more valuable. It is that simple. And yet most people are hoping for a raise without raising their value. They are hoping for more harvest without planting more seeds. Let's talk about the seasons. This is fundamental. Life and business are like the seasons. You cannot change the seasons, but you can change yourself. There is a winter in every life and in every economy. Economic winter is when things are hard, when the recession hits, when the money is tight. Most people panic in winter. They surrender. They say, "It's winter, what can I do?" But the wealthy person, the person with the philosophy of profits, knows that winter is the time to prepare. You don't build the house in the winter. You survive the winter because you built the house in the summer. But see, most people play in the summer. When the economy is good, when the money is flowing, they spend it. They buy the boat, they take the trip, they eat the seed corn. They act as if summer will last forever. But summer never lasts forever. Winter is always coming. The ant knows this. Think about the philosophy of the ant. It is profound. An ant never quits. If you try to stop it, it will look for another way. Up, down, around. It keeps looking. But more importantly, the ant thinks winter all summer. That is a sophisticated perspective. While it is gathering food in July, it is reminding itself, this won't last. I must store this up for the cold. And then when winter comes, the ant thinks summer. It says, this won't last. Soon I will be out there again. That balance of caution and optimism is the key to wealth. You must be cautious enough to save during the good times and optimistic enough to invest during the bad times. Now let me give you a specific formula. It is not magic, but it works like magic if you work it. It is called the 70-30 rule. If you want financial independence, you must learn to live on 70% of your after-tax income. I know what you are thinking. Jim, I can barely live on 100%. That is what I told Mr. Shoaff. I said, I need every penny. He said, that is why you are poor. You are eating your seed. You have to force yourself to live on 70%. It requires discipline. It requires saying no to things you want today so you can afford things you need tomorrow. So what do you do with the other 30%? Here is the breakdown. 10% goes to charity. Why? Because you must teach yourself that you are the master of money, not the slave. When you give away 10%, you are telling your brain that there is more where that came from. It breaks the grip of greed. It opens the flow. The next 10% goes to active capital. This is money you use to buy and sell, to start a side business, to buy a lawnmower and cut grass on weekends, to buy a product and sell it for a profit. Remember, profits are better than wages. This 10% is your seed money, and the final 10% goes to passive capital. This is money you invest for the long term. You let it sleep in an investment vehicle where it grows and compounds over 10, 20, 30 years. This is the philosophy of the wealthy. Poor people spend their money and invest what is left. Rich people invest their money and spend what is left. It is a subtle shift, but it is the difference between a fortune and a tragedy. And do not tell me you don't have the money. We all have the same amount of money relative to our lifestyle. It is not about the amount. It is about the habit. If you cannot save $1 out of 10, you will not save 10,000 out of 100,000. The habit is more important than the amount. We are creatures of habit. Failure is nothing more than a few errors in judgment repeated every day. Success is nothing more than a few simple disciplines practiced every day. The pain of discipline weighs ounces. The pain of regret weighs tons. You have to choose which pain you want. Do you want the pain of not buying that new gadget today, which weighs ounces? Or do you want the pain of being 65 years old and depending on the government to feed you, which weighs tons? The choice is yours. Every single day you are either sowing seeds of wealth or seeds of poverty. You are either reading the books or watching the TV. You are either investing the 10% or spending it on coffee and convenience. And here is the beautiful part. You don't have to change the world. You don't have to change the government. You just have to change your philosophy. You have to begin to think like a rich person before you ever have the money. You have to act like a wealthy person in your habits before the wealth shows up in your bank account. Because wealth is not something you go and get. Wealth is something you attract by the person you become. The money is just the score. The real prize is the person you have to become to earn that money. The skills you learn, the discipline you forge, the character you build, that is the true treasure. Even if you lost all the money tomorrow, you could make it back because you became the person who can make it. But if you are given $1 million and you haven't become the person who can handle it, you will lose it. We see it all the time with lottery winners. They have the money, but they don't have the philosophy. And soon the money returns to its rightful owners, people who know how to multiply it. So are you ready to stop wishing for fewer problems and start wishing for more skills? Are you ready to stop wishing it was easier and start wishing you were better? Because that is the only way your financial winter will ever turn into a financial spring. Now comes the hard part. This is the part where we stop talking about economics and start talking about character. You see, it is easy to listen to a video like this and nod your head. It is easy to say, yes, Jim, that makes sense. 70-30 rule, profits over wages. I agree. But agreement is not transformation. Knowledge without execution is merely entertainment. And I am not here to entertain you. I am here to challenge you to save your own life from the tragedy of mediocrity. The greatest enemy you face is not the tax man. It is not the corporation. It is not the bank. The greatest enemy you face is neglect. Neglect is the silent killer. It is the infection that spreads while you are sleeping. Neglect starts as an infection and ends as a pathology. What is neglect? It is doing a little bit less than you could. It is thinking that skipping your savings this month won't hurt. It is thinking that not reading the book today doesn't matter. It is thinking that eating the donut won't kill you. And you are right. One day of neglect will not kill you. One day of spending more than you earn will not bankrupt you. But here is the danger. It accumulates. Failure is not a single cataclysmic event. You don't wake up one morning and suddenly your life is a disaster. Failure is nothing more than a few errors in judgment, repeated every day. I want you to audit your life right now. Look at your last 5 years. If you continue the same habits, the same thinking, and the same spending patterns for the next 5 years, where will you be? Will you be free, or will you be deeper in the hole? Most people don't like to ask that question because the answer terrifies them. They prefer to live in a state of delusion. They think things will get better just because time passes. But things do not get better with time, they get worse. If you do not plant a garden, the weeds do not wait. The weeds take over. If you do not maintain your house, it does not stay the same. It deteriorates. Entropy is the law of the universe. If you do not actively fight for your wealth, poverty will automatically take over. Poverty needs no plan. Poverty needs no discipline. Poverty is simply what happens when you do nothing. So here is my challenge to you. Are you willing to pay the price of discipline today, or would you rather pay the price of regret tomorrow? We must all suffer one of two things, the pain of discipline or the pain of regret. But here is the difference. The pain of discipline weighs ounces. It is the small pain of saying no to a purchase. It is the small pain of studying when you want to sleep. But the pain of regret, that weighs tons. The pain of regret is looking at your children and saying, I'm sorry, we can't afford it. The pain of regret is being old and dependent on charity. Do not choose the easy path now because the easy path leads to a hard life. The hard path today leads to an easy life tomorrow. You might be thinking, Jim, it's too late for me. I'm too old. I've made too many mistakes. And let me tell you, that is the voice of the coward inside you. It is never too late to change the philosophy. You cannot change the destination overnight, but you can change the direction. And if you change the direction, the destination will eventually change. But you have to stop drifting. You have to grab the wheel. You have to admit that where you are is a result of who you have been. And if you don't like where you are, you must stop being who you have been. You must become someone else, someone disciplined, someone who values the future more than the present moment. In just a moment, we are going to reach the end of this video, and when we do, I am going to ask you to do something very difficult. I am going to ask you to sit in silence. Don't rush to the next video. Don't click on the sidebar. Don't check your comments. We are addicted to noise because noise drowns out the truth. We are afraid of silence because in the silence, the conscience speaks. And for many of you, your conscience has been trying to get your attention for years. It has been whispering, you can do better, you are wasting your potential, you are drifting. But you drown it out with entertainment. Today, we are going to let it speak. Because here is the reality. You are the architect. You hold the blueprint. Every dollar you spend is a brick. Are you building a castle or are you digging a grave? Every hour you spend is a seed. Are you planting wheat or are you planting weeds? You cannot fool the soil. You cannot say, I will plant weeds, but I hope for wheat. The soil will laugh at you. The marketplace will laugh at you. You will get exactly what you planted. So if you are not happy with the harvest, stop cursing the soil and start changing the seed. Stop cursing the lack of money and start changing the philosophy that repels money. Money is attracted to discipline. Money is attracted to value. Money runs away from neglect. This is not about being greedy. This is about being responsible. It is about stewardship. If you cannot handle a little, why should the universe give you a lot? If you are not faithful with the wages, why should you be trusted with the profits? It is a spiritual test as much as an economic one. Resolve today to break the cycle. Resolve today that your family's financial future changes with you, not with your boss, not with the government, with you. But to make that resolution real, you must first confront the person in the mirror without any noise, without any distraction. You must look at yourself and ask, am I doing my best? Not, am I doing what is comfortable, but am I doing my best? Because if you are not doing your best, you are cheating yourself out of the only life you have. You have a choice to make right now, not tomorrow, right now. You can continue to be a leaf in the wind, blown about by the economy, by politics, by the opinions of others, or you can become the architect of your own future. You can continue to subscribe to the philosophy of wages, hoping that if you just work hard enough, someone will notice and give you a raise. Or you can adopt the philosophy of profits, understanding that your income is not determined by your time, but by your value. It is time to walk away from the 97%. Don't talk like them. Don't act like them. Don't go where they go. Don't read what they read. If you want to live like the top 3%, you must do what the top 3% do. And what they do is work on themselves. They build the library. They attend the seminars. They listen to the tapes. They value their time more than their money. I want you to set a goal to become a millionaire, not for the money. The money is secondary. I want you to become a millionaire for what it makes of you to achieve it, for the skills you will have to learn, for the discipline you will have to forge, for the character you will have to build. That is the true value. The money can be lost. The stock market can crash. But what you become, no one can take that away from you. Once you become a person of value, you can lose it all and make it back in a fraction of the time. That is true security. Security is not a job. Security is the ability to produce. So, stand tall, look at your life with clear eyes. Stop apologizing for wanting more. There is nothing noble about poverty. There is nothing spiritual about being broke and unable to help your neighbor. You have a responsibility to be abundant. You have a responsibility to take the talents God gave you and multiply them, not hide them in the ground. Do not let your past define your future. I don't care if you are 40, 50, or 60. Colonel Sanders didn't start franchising Kentucky Fried Chicken until he was 62. He was broke at 62. It is never too late to set a better sail. But you must start today. You must make the commitment that from this day forward you will not be the same. You will be a student of wealth, not a victim of the economy. And now, we have arrived at the most important part of this video. In just a moment, the music will fade. My voice will stop. The screen will go dark. And for 60 seconds, there will be nothing but silence. Do not click away. Do not look at your phone. This is the challenge. Can you sit with yourself for 60 seconds? Most people cannot. They are terrified of the silence because in the silence they have to face themselves. But you are different. You are here because you are a seeker. I want you to use this silence to make a contract with yourself, not with me, with yourself. In this silence, I want you to visualize the person you intend to become. See yourself with the skills. See yourself with the discipline. See yourself with the abundance. And ask yourself one final question that will echo in the quiet. When the story of my life is written, will it say that I drifted through the seasons, or will it say that I learned to set the sail? Here is the silence. Use it.